Alright, this video we're going to call the Harbor Freight 8-inch bench grinder fix. I did a quick review on this grinder. I bought it, like I said, I bought it on sale and this and that. I got it for like 50 bucks, which is a pretty good deal. But again, with Harbor Freight, they sold me something that's not usable in the state that it's in. And you know, there's very few U.S. made items anymore. All of these things are made in China. I don't care what name you got on there. They're all made in the same place. This one's getting hot. So I had to fix this. Now, there was one fix the guy suggested on a web page. He was a woodworker. And basically he got one of these tuned up to where it didn't vibrate and balance the wheels. I tried that, it didn't work. So I went to where I work, and we have an 8-inch grinder, but it's red or orange. It's made in China. And they told me how they fixed it, and I went with that. And the thing about the fix is you're going to need to do some work with a lathe. That's the problem. And I got this so I can sharpen my tools, so when my lathe comes I can work on them. So I had to go to work and do it. So I'll show you what we did. The first thing you got to do is remove the side plates. Just 3 bolts hold them on. Take them off. Side shields or whatever. If you notice on this side, this spark guard, this thing constantly flops around no matter how hard I tighten it and drops down into the wheel, so it's gone. That's number one I'm not going to screw around with. Now I'm going to pull the wheel off and we'll diagnose the problem and what's wrong here. First of all, you make sure it's unplugged, which it is. Now this side has a left-hand thread. So this is left hand, that's right hand, I believe in it. What it does is when you turn it on, it draws the nut up so your wheels don't get loose. Okay, and then we'll take off 2 flanges. And then we'll kind of take a closer look at this thing here. Let me get my stopperoo. Alright, now we have the wheel off and everything. The problem lies in the shaft and the mounting system. I'm going to try to zoom in here close as I can. Now that's kind of a good look at the shaft. Okay? And basically what the problem is you have these 2 discs here. Okay? One's got a small hole for the threaded end and one's got a larger hole. Okay, this is the one that'll go up against. Now on most of these you should have a shaft with 2 different shoulders. But what you have is you have your 7/8, and then you see this one tip of my fingers, it's like a damn scribe, or where they just turned it. It was oversized and they just skim cut it. That's only a difference of 20 thousandths. I mean, it ain't nothing. It's like a scratch on there. This is where your flange for your wheel goes. As you see, it's not. That's why the wheels flop side to side. Now this shaft end didn't look bad. The other one looks a lot worse, and it's undersized. So I'll show you my fix. There was another fix that used larger flanges that were machined, and then it didn't work. It didn't work for me. So what you'd have to do is about 600 thousandths. I machined this shim, just a piece of steel. And what this will do is go over the shaft, press up against the bearing housing in the motor, like this. Creates a shoulder. Now I have a better surface, to line up against. So when you tighten it down, it doesn't move that much because you're actually pressing up against something. And that was the problem. That was one of the problems. So the guy at work told me you just put them spacers in there, and basically what you do is you make like a proper shaft a stepped, with a sizable step here for your flange to go up against. Now you got a shoulder. That's basically the way it should be, okay? But it's not. The other side, I'm not going to pull it off because I got the wheel on there and that. But the other side, this and also this diameter is a little bit bigger than 7/8 by about 2/1000. It's oversized. Where the other one's undersized and beat up and got raw stock marks on it. And I don't know if this shaft is kind of bent a little. I didn't indicate it, but there ain't nothing I can do to turn it or true it up. So that was the first part of the fix, putting that spacer in there. Now we'll go on to some of the other things that I had to do to the wheels to get them to work right. Alright, this whole thing has been a real pain. I've had a lot of trouble and fool with it. Now there was, like I said, a guy that did woodworking, and he had one. He said his fix was, what he did is he went and trued up that 20,000 shoulder on the shaft. And he got these, which are machined. They're for a table saw to hold the blade in. And they're 5/8, or I'm sorry, 7/8. So one of these will fit right up on the shaft. He got it on there and got it in and square. I cut a groove deep in the shoulder with a file, I guess. But the only problem with his fix is when you put the other one on, it doesn't line up with the nut. And this thing is heavy. So he took an indicator and tapped it in and tightened it down and fooled with it. He said he got it running, then balanced the wheels. When I put this on with the Norton wheels, the machine jumped 3 inches off the floor. So this didn't work. So this is a waste of my time and money. Also, another thing I realized, Norton wheels come with this little stepped spacer because they have a 1-inch hole. You have a 7/8 hole in the stone, in your grinding stone. The hole is 1 inch. So you put this spacer in, and this thing, when I put these wheels on, they jumped on that shaft. The spacers that came with it, they might work with a better made machine, but they're useless. So what I had to do, once I turned that on there, is I found some plastic. And if you notice that there's a white spacer in this stone, so I turned that tight so they more or less press into that hub. And I turned out that so it slides on the shaft fairly easily. The other one's kind of tight, that's why I ain't going to take it off. Now I got these dressed up, or tight. In other words, the spacer's tight. It's tight to the stone, it's tight to the shaft by a thousandths or two, so it slides on there. So that kind of helped. But this one's still out of balance. When I put this one on with the blue one, it gets it jumps a lot of vibration. Once I did that, the Chinese stones that came with it kind of run good, but I don't like the quality of them, so I'm going to hold on to these for a while. I bought another stone, which for the carbide and for the non-ferrous metals, the green stone. And this one had 1.25 inch hub. So I had a machine, and it didn't come with spacers, so I had to machine myself a hub and got it on there, and it works pretty good. And this one, I don't know how to dress these. The way I dress the silicone carbide is just with a star wheel dresser, just like that. Try to true them up. And I got a lot of the side-to-side wobble out, and for some reason that brownish stone don't balance quite well. The blue one I got on there, and I made that tight to go over that crappy end of the shaft. Fits on there tight, and it's balanced okay. When I put this one on the other side, it balances. The Chinese ones, I didn't really, well, I did throw them on there, they vibrated, and I hit both of them with the dresser, and I think it's just because you're riding on that stone in there, and it's not tight, but I got them close. But I'm just going to set these aside, maybe use them for something else later. For right now, I got it running and balanced. I'm going to go put this other wheel back on, and then we'll fire it up and you can see the difference that I got from this fix. Okay, we're going to power this thing up. Now, this thing's been driving me nuts. I gotta find a spot on the floor of the garage that's dead flat. There's no movement. Because I thought I couldn't get the wheels balanced again. And this thing will just move right across the floor. I gotta find a spot where that's secure and I can turn it on. And as you see, I'm gonna leave it in this setup because I need it for the greenstone for the carbide and non-ferrous metals. And then I got my fine stone here, which looks like it's been worn a little already between dressing it and grinding on it. But I got it to where, if you notice now, these wheels are running true and straight. Same with this one. There's no bouncing. These things were bouncing up and down and everything, so I kind of got it to where in this state it's usable. I can do something with it. I took that spark guard off. Got to try to get another light bulb. That rattled out and fell out and broke on the floor. So what kind of ticks me off is people will write reviews on this stuff. And yeah, your only other choice is like buying something for close to $200. Probably wouldn't have these hassles. But don't say the stuff works and is okay when it's really the way it was with them wheels wobbling and vibrating. It wasn't worth a damn. You know, I had to fool around with this for quite some time and it's still hit or miss getting it to work right. But you can, if you fool with it and get it secure on the floor or on a flat surface, or mount it to a heavy bench that's, you know, not going to move. Probably take care of a lot of it. But you can see they still, I don't know if the shaft's bent on there, but you know, now it's usable. But that was my way of fixing it, is making them spacers and getting it set up there. So that's my take on it, and got it running. We're ready to put it to use.